Welcome to the weird and wonderful world of magic.
Completely impossible.
Where nothing is quite as it seems.
3. In our hearts, we all have this need to believe in real magic.
I thought the method was brilliant.
It is real magic, like the most amazing magic you can ever hope to see, really.
Over the next 3 hours, we'll be counting down the most spectacular and amazing magic tricks ever seen on television.
Make it as impossible as possible.
It was me. Thank you.
Pow! From gravity-defying feats...
God knows where you come from.
...to truly great escapes.
Yeah! He's not just good, he's a great magician.
From the strange...
He really wasn't happy to wear that outfit.
Make him stop!
...to the stupendous...
Just had my mouth open the whole time.
The extraordinary...
Why aren't they clapping? They're normally clapping by this point.
...to the mind-blowing...
He's a really stunningly good magician.
And sometimes even the downright dangerous.
I have to warn you, this can go wrong.
I cannot explain how scary it is.
So be prepared for your mind to be mystified.
How did you do that?
Your brain to be boggled.
You're not following this, are you?
And your eyes to be deceived.
Oh, of course. Easy.
These are the 50 greatest magic tricks you will ever see.
And I'll tell you how it's done. Really well. It's done magically, of course.
Can you pass me the guitar?
Kicking off, a magician who's a little bit rock and roll, Dynamo, showing Stone Roses frontman Derren Brown that there's more to a guitar than just playing it.
I'm in the studio with Derren Brown, yeah? Absolute legend. He's seen everything. He's lived it, you know, the life, sex, drugs and rock and roll. I saw the guitar and the drumstick and the plectrum. So to combine all those things together, I just thought it made sense. In my head, anyway. This is a bit weird, but I want to try something.
He came to my boyfriend's birthday party this year and did some amazing tricks.
There's something quite sexy about him, I think. Hey, I'm from the estate.
He's pretty cool, isn't he?
Can you stand up and just put your chair, like, opposite mine? Not too close.
Dynamo is a very good performer in a completely different style to everyone else.
Yeah, that should be great if you just stand back here a little bit.
He's got the cheek of the street urchin, and he's doing very well.
I was worried a little bit about damaging his guitar, but he sold a lot of records, so I think I can afford to buy a new one. Can I borrow the plectrum as well?
Normally, really famous people are so controlled in, like, interviews and stuff, but if you can just get them to, like, have a gut reaction, you just see them in a different light.
Nobody move.
People just thought that him balancing the drumstick was the trick.
Can go a step further.
Then he moves the chair away. Pow! Right in the kisser, he knocks you for 6. It's a stunning illusion.
If you see someone really famous going, that is amazing, you know. And clearly he does it right in front of their eyes.
At first I thought it was maybe magnetics or some kind of electrical current, something. I can't work out how he does it. It infuriates us a little bit.
And I'll tell you how it's done. Really well.
What's he doing? What's he doing?
It's not humanly possible. It's not possible.
Conversation usually revolves around them asking me how I did what I did, and then me not telling them.
We've been pals a good few years, but he's scaring me today.
And then them getting, hopefully one day he'll reveal all his secrets to us. Or what?
Please welcome Penn and Teller.
Together, Penn and Teller have been performing their distinctive brand of magic and comedy for over 35 years. Miser's Dream is a solo performance from the less vocal member of the pair.
I don't need to know your name. He's not going to talk to you.
Teller is probably one of the most important magic brains in the world.
He'd probably been doing the Miser's Dream at that point for 30 years, right? What makes it good is the decades of bad miser's dreams he did that give the pacing and the timing and the confidence.
He's not just good, he's a great magician. He has a quality of Harpo Marx about his performance, a kind of impishness and curiosity that's very appealing.
The thing I love about the routine is it's just so brave. He just stands there for a few minutes, doesn't say a single word, never speaks. There's no music, there's not even any background music. Just using his body language and his facial expressions, he's creating these moments of absolute astonishment and wonder, all just with his bare hands and some silver coins. It's amazing.
The way he produces the coins, it's not just the fact he produces the coins, there's a poetry in his movement.
It's just a really beautiful, perfectly executed piece of magic.
He makes her feel completely comfortable. There's the comedy elements of him taking the glasses off and produces coins from the glasses. And he does all of that without saying a word.
My favourite part of the trick is where he picks up the coins and he dumps them in the water tank and nothing happens. Because he looks so sort of forlorn that he's not got it right. And then he goes in for his second attempt and you get that absolutely amazing shower of goldfish. I mean, it's just such a magical moment.
The fish is just one of those stage moments that's just a gasp. I'm so proud when we've done TV stuff and they introduce, and now Penn and Teller comes out and does that alone. It was that great moment when Ed Sullivan over in the States said, "The Beatles," and Paul McCartney came out alone. And I love that Paul McCartney alone was the Beatles. And I love that it's a Penn and Teller trick. It's Penn and Teller performing, and I'm not there, which is, I think, the best Penn and Teller trick.
US illusionist Franz Harari is known for performing magic on a grand scale.
Rock and roll.
For this trick, he was in London attempting to make one of our famous landmarks disappear.
When you think of England, you're either going to think of Big Ben or Tower Bridge.
What about the London Eye?
Maybe the London Eye.
Buckingham Palace?
You know, maybe the guy with the big hat, you know?
Nelson's Column?
It's probably Big Ben or Tower Bridge, one of those.
Tower Bridge, then.
Tower Bridge it's symmetrical, so that opens up a lot of potential to me because I can use that symmetry to create my illusions. I can use mirror, refraction, I can use any number of effects, and the fact that it's on water means you've actually got it going in 4 directions. Let's say we set everything up right over here, right? To create illusions at the scale that I do requires a team of people, sometimes into the hundreds.
Yeah, it looks pretty good from over here.
And all of these people need to work together with split-second accuracy. That all comes down to a single moment. It's really pretty fantastic. The only thing we're missing is an audience. We decided to do the illusion for a very select group of people. We thought, well, maybe we should call the Queen, maybe we should call Elton John, or anybody with any kind of authority. Although I don't think of Elton John, well, he's a knight, right? So he's got the sword.
Unfortunately, the Queen and Sir Elton John weren't available, but luckily some members of the general public were.
Hey guys, come on over, I want to show you something. You're about to see something amazing. I hope. The count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Oh my God!
Yeah. The stunned reaction, not just from kids, but also from adults, it kind of enforced that theory that I had, that in our hearts, we all have this need to believe in real magic. We got it, guys. That sense of real magic that we all had when we were kids.
What he's created here is an illusion. Because we know he can't do that. You can't make Tower Bridge disappear. Because if you did, I mean, for example, all the buses and all the taxis would be falling into the Thames. We don't see that happening. We at home would watch that and we might think that it's some sort of camera trick. But there are people there, members of the public, who have seen that with their own eyes. And that's what makes him a great illusionist.
Coming up, it's double trouble for magic's bad boys. A fishing lesson with a magic twist.
He's one of those guys who you go and see him, you'll be amazed and you'll laugh too.
And a comedy conjurer loved for his magic mistakes.
Glass bottle, glass bottle, glass bottle.
Welcome back as we continue our magical mystery tour through the world of TV trickery.
He was a brilliant comedian. He was brilliant at being a rubbish magician.
He's just a genius.
Yes, it's the funny man beneath the fez whose chaotic conjuring transformed Tommy Cooper into a comedy legend.
Ask someone to do a Tommy Cooper impression and they will do bottle glass.
Bottle glass, glass bottle.
Here's the glass, here's the bottle. Bottle, glass. Glass bottle, bottle, glass bottle, glass bottle. Empty tubes. Oh, sorry. Too many bottles.
Not everybody takes magic seriously. I think that was it with Tommy, he was a brilliant magician. You know, he was a fantastic magician, but he realised that the laughs were more important than the magic.
They have now changed places.
The genius of Tommy Cooper is that he used the art form of comedy as misdirection to get away with his magic tricks.
But before you say this has no place on TV's 50 greatest magic tricks, this happens.
Hey, look at that!
Just like that. He knew perfectly what he was doing. So every trick that you saw him do, he would nail it. He would get it right, and then he'll go, OK, now I'll perform it, but I'll perform it in such a manner that everyone will assume that I've got it wrong. And to do that, it's like playing an instrument out of tune, but being a perfect pianist. It's harder to get it out of tune than it is to get it in key.
Comedy and magic go well together. There's just the idea of this bumbling persona trying to sort of pull stuff off. And then, of course, you know, revealing that he was brilliant at magic as well, you know, was just great. No one else has really done that.
So if you can do both of them as well as Tommy Cooper did, you're home and dry. He was just fantastic.
Thank you!
Now, an Australian magic man.
Thank you very much.
With a very unusual card trick.
I didn't realise how strong it was going to be until I started performing it for people. And when I did, and they were more amazed by that by anything else I did.
What you want to do is put your palms together, so your thumbs are still face down for me, just like this. Palms together.
James learnt his magic from a professional con man who cheated in high-stakes poker games.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. So your thumbs are face up for me, please.
While others were learning how to make hankies disappear, he learnt how to deal aces from the bottom of the deck.
Now, everyone always asks me, do I cheat when I play cards? And the answer is it depends on whom I'm playing.
Close-up magic just has that something extra because you can see it.
If I was playing you, ma'am, I wouldn't cheat at all. If I was playing you, mate, I definitely would.
I think there's nothing more amazing than that.
It's pretty simple. First thing I want you to see is that all the cards are, in fact, different, OK, folks? You can see all the cards are different. No two cards are alike. It's a normal pack of cards. You can buy them in any magic shop.
There's a long tradition in magic of people telling stories with a deck of cards.
Very good. Now, I'm going to tell you a little story. It's a little bit of fun about what happened to me the other night. I was actually out and I met up with a couple of girls. They were two redheads. I was chatting to them for, I don't know, about 1, 2, 3 minutes. I met up with their friends. They were two brunettes. They said, what's your name? I said, it's James with a J. Don't forget that. Some people think that it's a fake deck. It's not. It's a 100% brand new deck of cards. They said, rightio, James, where you headed tonight? I said, I'm not too sure. They said, come with us to 673 King Street. I said, sounds like a plan. They said, there's a cover charge, though. $25. I said, $25? They said, yep, $25. You with me so far?
The cards are constantly being mixed up, yet he still manages to spin out this yarn. It's amazing to see it.
At this point, my phone rang, right? So I cut in my pocket to find my phone. When I did, do you know what I said? I said, hello, James speaking. My friend said, James, where you headed tonight? I said, I'm not too sure. I've met these girls. I'm going to some place called 700 and something King Street. The girls knew that was wrong. They said, no, no, no. It's 673 King. I said, I'm sorry, mate, I've actually got that wrong. It's 673 King. He said, I'll be there soon. Is there a cover charge? You remember how much it was, folks? That's right. He said, all I've got on me is 10. I said, don't lie. He goes, okay, I've got 40, but that's all I've got. Can you lend me some money? I said, no problem. He said, James, it is one of these tricks where
it can stuff up at any moment. If one card goes out of place, then the trick goes horribly wrong. You can't live with that fear, knowing that it can go wrong, otherwise it will. So you just go out, you know, with that confidence, knowing that you're going to be okay.
And he said, let's play poker. I said, sure, what would you like? He said, a full house, 2 4s and 3 8s. I said, I'll see what I can do. I came over there, and Jenny wanted 4 9s, which is a pretty good hand as well. I wanted you to win, mate, so I gave you the 4 aces with an 8. That's 1, that's 2, that's 3, that's 4. You went to go take all the money from the table. You thought you'd won. I said, what the hell are you doing? You said, James, you couldn't possibly beat that. I said, the only thing it does, mate, is a straight flush. That's what I've got, and that's my story.
I've only got it wrong once. And I remember I went out, and I said, I went out the other night with a couple of girls. There were 2 red heads, and a 6 and a 7 came out. But in my head, I didn't know, because I was just already in the rhythm of it. And it wasn't until I looked back, I'm like, why aren't they clapping? They're normally clapping by this point. And I was like, oh. And there was no way out. Thank you very much.
I got a letter from the BBC. Could I vanish £1 million?
Ladies and gentlemen, you're about to see a safe enter under security guard, which has in it £1 million in cash.
The idea of Paul Daniels vanishing £1 million. I mean, how many people have seen £1 million in cash?
We have got now in here, in packets, a strong box with £1 million inside it.
You can vanish a small ball under a cup, and you can vanish a large object in a box, but it doesn't hit the imagination.
Inside here, no kidding, is exactly £1 million in cash.
The important thing about it was real money.
Standing in for Debbie McGee and making sure nothing untoward happened to all the money was none other than the late media tycoon Robert Maxwell.
All the way around it, and that's why you're here. You are men of integrity.
Well, what's impressive about that is that he couldn't have known what was going to happen, but he did it with Robert Maxwell. And Maxwell made much more than millions disappear, didn't he? Maybe he looked at that and thought, wow, making money disappear. I could plunder this pension fund and make millions disappear.
Hey, put it back.
I reckon I gave him an idea. He vanished a lot of money, did that lad, I'll tell you.
There is one more surprise for any thief that ever tried to steal it. The surprise would be this.
I actually worked out a way to get the £1 million out of the studio, because I had a letter that said, can I vanish £1 million?
Then there goes tear gas.
I did not have a letter that said, can you bring it back?
Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. The guys at the back could see underneath all the time. The people in the studio could, even if you at home couldn't. People were watching all around.
The £1 million I vanished, I did bring it back.
How the dickens did we get this back inside it?
I made it reappear in the big safe that it had come out of. A sad moment in my life.
At 44, a classic card trick with a twist.
I love magic. I love seeing how to do. Well, I got into magic because I was quite a shy, introverted teenager, and I think a lot of magicians are like that.
Mark Paul got over his shyness and went on to perform a memorable trick on Parkinson in front of millions. He even baffled Tom Jones.
Yep. 4 of diamonds, jack of diamonds.
Yeah.
4.
I actually had a childhood dream to work in a magic shop, and I worked in a magic shop for David Berglass's son, Marvin Berglass.
We've worked together for many years, and I think he'd be the first to admit that my dad David is a big hero of his and someone who's influenced him a great deal.
Jack of hearts. I saw one just behind you here. What card is that? That's a jack of hearts. That's a money one.
David Berglass inspired me. I had seen him perform similar routines. In fact, the routine has sort of become known as the Berglass effect.
Look, Mark gave the trick, also known as any card at any number, his own unique twist.
Playing cards. What I want you to do is to hold the cards in your hand, OK?
The perfect version of any card at any numbers is a holy grail of card magic, because that is the ultimate idea, is that you don't touch the cards.
Martina, I want you to think of a card, get a card in your mind, OK?
And people have a free choice of card number.
And Michael, I want you to think of a number between 1 and 52.
And the card appears at the number that they wanted.
What's your card?
Queen of Hearts.
Give me a number between 1 and 52.
8.
8. If you don't touch the pack of cards,
there is no explanation.
If the 8th card in that pack is the Queen of Hearts, that will be unbelievable.
It will be.
It becomes impossible. Sleight of hand cannot be performed.
But you see, what I have done is influence you say the 8 of Hearts and influence you to say the number 8.
And what I've always tried to do in my magic is make it as impossible as possible.
Alistair, if you count down 8 cards, one at a time, onto my hand...
I said Queen of Hearts.
Queen of Hearts.
And you said Ace of Hearts.
Sorry, Queen of Hearts. You want the Queen of Hearts.
I want the Queen of Hearts.
And you want it 8th down in the pack.
So you better make it happen quick.
I know a lot of people might think it was stooged, you know, if I'd asked them to name that card and name that number. But believe me, that is not the case.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is the 8th card. We're looking for the Queen of Hearts.
Queen, not the Ace, the Queen.
Show everyone. Queen!
You look at their faces, they are as impressed as, hopefully, the reaction that you hear from the audience, if not more impressed, because they know they could have named any card, they know they could have named any number.
He fools me. He fools me big time. I used to run this magic nightclub, and he said, pick up the top card, it's the 4 diamonds. And I picked up, it was 4 diamonds. I mean, this is miracle type stuff. This is my deck, this is me shuffling. There's just no way he could have done this. And then I was booking the next season at my magic club, and I called up Mark and said, look, I've booked everybody, but I haven't booked you, because you haven't told me how the trick done. He says, okay, John, I'll tell you what every other magician in London knows. I said, what's that? And he says, it was just a guess.
Dear Mr. Copperfield, I made some bad mistakes when Mike was a boy.
Ever the showman, David Copperfield played on his audience's emotions when he magically reunited a son with his father. Just in case you're unmoved, he added some suitably sentimental music for good effect.
And Michael Brown is here in our audience tonight. Please help me welcome him.
David Copperfield is like the camembert of magicians, isn't he? Because he's kind of smooth and silky and unbelievably cheesy.
Let's see how they're doing in Hawaii right now.
This ambitious illusion involved Copperfield transporting himself and the son from the studio to an idyllic scene of sand, sea and palm trees in Hawaii, all clearly illustrated on a huge screen for the benefit of the studio audience.
It's like the Cilla Black of America in a way, you know, like the surprise with magic. Very clever. There's no getting away from however cheesy it is and all the schmaltz and the music and everything else. It's an incredibly clever thing that he does.
Take this pen, write TS, your initials, right there on my arm.
Using a classic magician's device, Copperfield ramped up the illusion. Surely there was no way he could appear thousands of miles away in an instant, could he?
Nicely done. You went to art school. Come with me.
Our part of this trick was building the arm and the platform unit that goes out over the audience that he vanishes from.
All the way up?
What makes the portal illusion as effective as it is that it happens out over audience members, I mean, right above their heads.
I'm the king of the world!
And people below, people to the left, people to the right, and when they vanish like that, it's just an amazing moment, you know?
Cleverly, Copperfield positioned himself and his volunteer in full view of the audience, with no obvious trapdoor in sight. They disappear in a theatrical puff of smoke.
I would never do it. My reasoning is something drummed into me by Ali Bongo, who was one of the great television magic advisors of all time. And he said, you should never make a trick so impossible that they will just assume it's technology doing it.
I think part of the thing about magic is you have to just try not to work it out and just accept that it's really clever. We know it's not real. You know, we know that you haven't been transported from Las Vegas to Hawaii through a curtain. Like, that's not going to have happened.
Real or not real, Copperfield again demonstrated his mastery of the magic art form. The swelling strings, the run into the surf, all designed to reinforce our amazement. Pure magic.
The guy ends up in Hawaii, supposedly. How brilliant is that? Like, if we could just do that, how brilliant is that?
Coming up, would you let this man loose on your cutlery?
And there's no heat at all. To touch it, there's absolutely no heat.
A magic trick that's so amazing, it even makes the trains run on time.
I can't believe it, honestly, I can't.
And Teller has an argument with a truck. Welcome back. If you want to see more mind-boggling magic, then you're in the right place. Remember David Blaine when he did this?
In America, they love it. Oh, it's a bloke in a box. It's amazing. Over here, what's a bloke in a box? You know, I've done that last weekend.
Well, back in the day, he used to do magic, and he was pretty good at it as well.
David Blaine single-handedly did a great service to magic at a time where people weren't really talking about magic.
He'd gone out on the street, you know, he did something and he transferred that to telly that people had never seen before.
David Blaine first appeared on US TV screens in 1997. His unique brand of showmanship saw him performing magic in just his jeans and a T-shirt to an audience standing right next to him on the street.
That first special, Street Magic, really was, you know, a game changer.
Blaine helped pioneer the device of turning the camera away from the performer and onto the watching audience.
Mix it up into the deck.
David Blaine's card on window, or card on other side of the window. I mean, it's a great trick. There's just no denying it.
Their brain is trying to somehow explain that there is some possibility that that card squeezed through that window. It's great. It's great watching people go up to the glass and go, but it's behind it. And it's sort of like looking around going, have you seen it behind?
David Blaine's magician is brilliant. His persona is slightly weird, but I think he's cultivated that.
Are you an illusionist? Are you a trickster? What is it? Are you a stuntman? What are you? How would you describe yourself?
I'm just a showman.
Yeah?
This unusual persona was never more evident than on a 2001 appearance on the GMTV sofa with our very own Eamon Holmes.
Is this part of the show, this stare and the eyes and all that sort of thing? The eye in the hand. And what is that? What is the eye in the hand? Let's see that again.
It's protection.
Protection.
What is all of that, you know, eye of the tiger? What? Mental. Mental.
If you have spoons, hold them very gently, like this. If you have clocks and watches, hold them in your hands. Now, just don't rush me, because it takes time.
Next, a bit of mind-bending magic that everyone could join in with at home. Apparently all you needed was a bit of cutlery and the ability to believe.
Now believe that they're going to start ticking. Meanwhile, I will start stroking a spoon. You people at home wish your spoons also to melt or bend.
We've all done it. Sat there with the spoon, willing it.
Back in the 1970s, many of us were sucked into the weird world of Uri Geller, a man who amazed audiences by bending spoons.
Becoming there.
He first appeared on our television screens in 1973, and he bends metal with the power of his mind.
You will break it.
And there's no heat at all. Touch it. There's absolutely no heat.
Is that solid silver, Lord Bath?
Yeah, it was made by Gerrard in London.
We'd never seen that before. That was new. That was incredibly new, and it absolutely captured the imagination of the public.
Well, the 70s, when sort of Geller started, coming to prominence on TV, it was a time when everybody... It was kind of sort of the new age thing had really kicked in after the hippie movement, you know, so everybody was into UFOs and crop circles and all that kind of stuff, and Geller just kind of rode on the back of that.
It wasn't my powers that went into the mic and into this key, no. I triggered the power in you.
Uri didn't claim to be a magician. No, he claimed his bending skills were all down to his psychic powers.
Look now.
Uri Geller hits the scene and goes, this is not magic. This is the power of the mind.
Because if you had those powers, you wouldn't do anything more useful, would you?
I can bend a spoon. I can bend a fork. I'm not some amazing man. There are people who kind of go, no, don't believe a word of it. And there are people going, well, you know. But let's not forget what business he's in. He's in the entertainment business, okay? And he is entertaining, whatever you think of him.
So many negative people who don't believe in what I do. They say that I take the spoon before and I bend it many, many times and I prepare it, or I have chemicals on me. But you people, if you experience something, then what can you say?
I remember meeting Uri Geller in a toilet. He was in a hotel toilet, and I just stood next to him having a wee and just giggling, because I was just thinking, I hope he doesn't start rubbing and bending things while we're in here, you know.
Next, the TV show Penn and Teller Fool Us and the method magician Piff.
Performing in front of Penn and Teller, that wasn't really a problem because dragons don't have televisions.
Good evening. It was basically like watching Jack D dressed in a dragon's outfit doing a magic act.
My name's Piff the Magic Dragon. You might have heard of my older brother. Steve. The most difficult volunteers are the women because they're just all over me. What's your name, Princess?
Stacey.
Stacey? Really? All right, my wife's called Stacey. Well, we're not really married. In fact, we've only just met. When you come up with a new magic trick, it can take a long time to perfect it, maybe like 20 minutes.
Stop.
Just there, you sure?
Yeah.
Give you one chance to change your mind?
Nope.
That's a shame. Okay, Stacey, I have a pen. I'd like to write your name nice and neatly in the little white space in the top of the card just there. Your name nice and neatly. I'll do a little magic trick for the audience. Little magic trick. Vanish.
It's very tempting to say that the Piff idea is so funny that the magic doesn't matter, and it's just not true. He's a really stunningly good magician.
Could we please reveal my prediction? So basically, Stacey was wrong.
I like the trick because it's one of those tricks where the audience suspect that it's gone wrong, but then he's the magician who can get himself out of this sticky situation.
If you ever change your mind, I'll be around where I used to be, lonely heart and all.
The trick itself is incredible. The first 4 minutes of it, I was laughing my head off, and then afterwards going, oh, hold on, that's amazing.
As predicted, the 9 of hearts.
You could do the best tricks in the world. You can be the best singer in the world, be the best magician, best comedian, whatever it is. If they don't like you, doesn't mean a lot. With Piff, as soon as he comes on, you like him.
Even though you're in a stupid dragon suit, is a really, really good trick. When Teller and I were done talking, he had fooled us. And then when I started talking, I changed a little bit we were saying and happened to stumble upon it. I'm going to go talk to a magic dragon. But Teller had it from the beginning. But it's a very, very, very good trick.
You didn't fool them, did you, Piff?
I don't think so.
You didn't fool them, but you came pretty close, and we all loved it, didn't we? It was a great
We used to do a show called Monkey Magic, and each week there was a thing called Magicians at War, where we challenged ourselves to do unusual tricks. So
Magic man Ali Cook with his novel take on the card trick.
I'm in a competition with one of the other magicians to come up with the best trick which doesn't use our hands at all.
And then I thought it'd be even more impressive that instead of someone taking a card, they just think of a card.
Would you just pick up those cards for me? And what I'd like to do is just put them in the card filling machine. Like that.
The best bit for me was his audience. Why did he choose this kitchen, wherever it was, and with randomly 2 girls called Figan and Fatima? And Fatima never does anything, just kind of stares for the whole thing. I think she had a bit of a soft spot for him.
Would you put the cards down here?
To here, yeah?
About there.
Have you seen the kitchen floor? It's disgusting. It's horrendous.
God knows why, but our producer Anthony decided for us to film it in some greasy spoon calf in their greasy kitchen. And as I was walking around the kitchen in my bare feet, it was so much grease and grime on the floor. I was just like slipping and sliding. It was really gross.
I just want you to think of any card.
Okay.
All right, you have a card in mind.
Yeah.
Okay, now I didn't ask you to take one or anything. I had a completely free choice of any card.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good. I'm now going to try and find your card with my card flinging device.
There's no way Ali could manipulate those cards because the card is merely thought of. It's not like he had one taken out the deck and put back in and done any sneaky moves.
For the very first time, I'd like to name your card.
3 of diamonds.
Here we go, watch.
Oh, yeah.
Sleight of hand, anyone can do that. This is sleight of foot. That's why it's so good. That man's got nimble toes.
Basically, I've got ninja vision, so when cards are flinging up, I can just see it and catch it with my toes. It's just one of those things I can do.
In the world of magic, there are thousands of tricks. There are hundreds of tricks that are really sensational, but there are very few miracles, and the floating light bulb is a miracle.
When you see what you're about to see, you will also think it's something you'll remember the longest day you live. Watch, please.
American Harry Blackstone Jr. was always destined to be an illusionist. The son of veteran stage magician the Great Blackstone, he was involved in his father's magic routines from an early age. Harry died in 1997, but he lives on in the memory of magicians everywhere, thanks to his performance of tricks like this one.
I think when you ask magicians what is their favourite moment in magic, they will say Harry Blackstone's floating light bulb.
And you got to realize, this was before, like, small electronics as well. An idea of a light bulb glowing without it being plugged in was a magic trick in its own right.
What Harry Blackstone does is a pretty standard floating trick, and then he totally moves the goalposts. He completely changes what he's doing.
I'll tell you what, if I let you look at it, promise just to look, don't touch, all right, then you may see it as well.
The light bulb lurches out into the audience, and suddenly he breaks the wall between you and the trick. Suddenly there, under your nose.
It's not an easy thing to mess with, and I wouldn't recommend any young magicians to start on this trade.
I'm always being asked, in the floating light bulb, is it a real light bulb? Yes, it's a real light bulb. How it's done? Why, it's done magically, of course.
Siegfried and Roy make Liberace look dowdy.
When they're on stage, they're like, bam, bam.
You'll never, ever get anyone that's as good as him. I honestly believe that.
He's a perfectionist. I'm a dreamer.
This illusion, entitled Interlude, was typical of the lavish spectacle audiences came to expect from Siegfried and Roy. Its staging promised a dark and dramatic conclusion.
The very first time Paul took me to Las Vegas, Paul was working there, and I went to see the Siegfried and Roy show on my own, and I can remember I just had my mouth open the whole time.
Combining high camp with high drama, the boys threw in a bit of spooky music to help the subliminal suggestion that something unworldly was about to happen.
The assistant will stand inside this, what looks like an A-frame, and the magician will push their hand through the stomach of the assistant, and then they'll climb through their body. That's it.
However, Siegfried and Roy rebranded the trick in their own inimitable style.
Siegfried and Roy presented magic in the most fantastic way possible on this giant stage with every bell and whistle they could come up with.
You have the Spider Woman writhing through the man's belly, a bit like, you know, that scene from Aliens.
That's cool, but she is a gymnast, and you're like, mm-hmm.
Not only did somebody, you know, a human being crawl through the centre of that cabinet, through Roy's body, but after that, in a blink of an eye...
Baff! This unique twist took Siegfried and Roy's version of the trick to a whole new level. The stunned audience reaction said it all.
That is the jaw-dropping moment.
This is live on stage in Vegas, and to see that must be just awesome.
They were the best, and I think that'll always be number one.
Coming up, a neat trick to outsmart traffic wardens. A magician who has an amazing way with the birds.
I could not see how he did it.
And if only all of us could get changed this quick.
It is the most magical moment I think I've ever seen.
But before that, had enough of Christmas? Would you like to get away from all the tinsel, wrapping paper and Christmas songs? As part of our end-of-year list show specials, we're giving you the chance to win your choice of holiday from our list of top 3 destinations. A break to Venice, a trip to bustling New York, or a few days in the Maldives. All you have to do is answer the following question. What song is traditionally sung on New Year's Eve? Is it A, Merry Christmas, B, Auld Lang Syne, or C, Happy Birthday? To enter, just call 0904 161 9955 or text WIN plus A, B or C to 65550 or post your answer, name and phone number to WIN PO Box 7557 Derby DE1 0NP. Calls cost £1.53 from a BT landline. Other networks vary and mobiles will cost considerably more. Text costs £1.50 plus standard network rate. Lines close midday 12th of January 2012 and 3 days later for postal entries. Entries received after competition closes will not be counted but may be charged. For rules and winners, go to channel5.com/win. Welcome back to the greatest magic tricks that have ever appeared on your telly. If some of the magic you've already witnessed made your jaw hit the floor, you ain't seen nothing yet.
He is Lance Burton.
Somebody tipped me off that there was a very young man working in a strip club on Sunset. The curtains on, there was this tall, saturnine-looking guy in a purplish kind of evening suit with big frilly cuffs and all that. And Vivaldi playing. And he just went like that with his hand, and a ball of fire appeared here, and a bird flew out of it. A stunned audience. I just said, book him.
Rescued from the hell of working with attractive, naked women every night, Lance Burton became one of Las Vegas's most bankable magicians with an act that featured a very different type of bird.
And there's something about making a live animal, especially one that flies, just come out of a handkerchief. That's just great.
Oh, you're going to do one now?
Hey!
Hey, here he goes again, everyone.
No, I'm not going to make a double pair.
I was once in the wings for Lance Burton's Dove Act, so I saw it from the wrong angle, from the side, about 6 foot away, and I couldn't see a thing. I could not see how he did it.
He specialises in what you'd call manipulation and manipulative magic, which is dexterity of the fingers. He does manipulative magic to its very, very best. And for me, the 10 minutes that he does with the doves and the cards is the epitome of magic and how magic should be done.
Doves are very trainable. They've been domesticated for centuries. They use a particular type of dove for this, which is the Javan dove, which is a bird that's naturally small but has quite a lot of feathers, so it appears to be quite a large bird.
Just elegant magic. You can watch it and you'll never see it. Lance is one of the best ones there's ever been.
Well, I spent a few years doing the street magic specials, and it got to a stage where you just kind of look around you and just think of things that could be used that you haven't already used.
At 35, Britain's answer to street magician David Blaine.
The main difference between Paul Zenon and David Blaine is budget.
If you just move that way slightly, I'm going to show you something really strange, just over here.
Blaine's got all these sort of MTV-style camera shots, and then Paul Zenon's doing a trick outside Woolworths.
Check this car out. All right, give the window screen a bang. All right, make sure it's real.
No one has ever done magic with a tax disc. And why would you do, pick a tax disc, any tax disc? You just wouldn't do it.
Right, check the tax disc. Is that on the inside? That's the important thing.
You're resting on some really big assumptions that all people have, which is that glass is solid. So you don't have to do all of that, look, and my box is solid, and tapping it around. All the box tapping has been done for you by just having a windscreen.
Watch this. Look.
This is magic which is done in the real world. It's not just the sparkly jacket, bow tie, and the audience clapping. It's very much people there and then. Their expressions and reactions don't lie.
Doing street magic's interesting because you kind of never quite know what the reaction's going to be, sometimes positive and quite often negative, because you are just a bloke wandering up to them in the street, and so quite often people think it's just a subtle form of mugging rather than entertainment,
This is magic! You watch it, about 5 hours later, you're still trying to work out how he's done it. Because it is magic, there's no way of explaining it. I'm sure there is some trick to it, but it can't be done. Hey, he's rich! He's rich!
In retrospect, I have to say, I should have really, left the tax disc and taken the cars, to be honest.
We first met, we're about 15 years old, at a magic club for magicians. I tried to speak.
Hello. We were the only young people in the whole of Aberdeenshire doing magic.
But because of that, we instantly hated each other, because he was like my only rival, was Stuart.
Men I hated Barry equally, and we decided to join forces.
Together they perfected a unique act combining magic with storytelling. This one starts with a Rubik's Cube, the 80s toy that everyone had, but no one could do.
Mixed up.
I have a Rubik's Cube, and the fact that I'm blonde and mathematically challenged works against me. I can't do it.
I decided to throw the cube into the air. And when I caught it, it was somehow solved on all sides.
I had a Rubik's Cube when I was a kid, and I would have given anything for the power to throw it in the air and have it drop back into my hands and for it to be completely solved, as opposed to what I did do, which is rather than throw it in the air, I threw it at a wall and it smashed into a million pieces. But that's not technically magic.
The cube just vanished.
Barry and Stuart create these little performance pieces. They're almost like little plays, and they do characters with it.
Take a seat.
They interact wonderfully, and they create these very surreal moments.
I'm pleased to meet you, I said.
I'm pleased to meet you.
I lied. I explained to her.
In this box, there are 52 cards, and what I'm about to do is just swell.
I decided to speak like an American.
Barry is the voice inside Stuart's head. And the tricks are telling the story. They're not just tricks for tricks' sake.
I leaned in close so that I could hear her.
3 of spades.
She'd said the 3 of spades.
The Queen of Hearts it is, then.
It's theatre, it's comedy, it's magic.
There was only one card inside the case. And when I showed it to the audience, they began to make this noise with their hands. For it was the card she'd freely named, the 3 of spades.
It's so simple, and it's just so utterly, utterly baffling.
The girl was so impressed that she wanted to give me a kiss on the lips. But she didn't.
My favourite bit, actually, is a simple piece of magic.
You're always there, shouting out my thoughts like a foghorn.
I said.
No, you're not there. You're in my head.
I said.
Stuart suddenly realises that he needs his pills. But Barry has got his pills.
Are you looking for these?
You knew I'd try this. You stopped me last time. But if you're just in my head, you can't be holding those pills. I am.
Stuart starts to regain control. He's got rid of that voice in his head.
We called routine homunculus because it's an old Greek word which means little man, based on the idea that there's a little man inside all of our heads controlling our actions.
Don't do this.
They're so difficult to define, and that's why they're, one of my favourite magic acts in the world.
Magician Simon Drake's decision to perform a sleight of hand routine entirely in silhouette came about purely by chance.
I work with the great legendary Patrick Page, who's sadly lost to us now, in my studio in Chiswick. He sat on the couch and I stood up at the other end of the room, and the sun used to set at the end of the day behind me, and there was a big framed picture of the other end of the room, and I could see my reflection in the picture just as a silhouette. And I just said, wouldn't it be great to do a routine all in silhouette?
It's a beautiful piece of magic as theatre. It's effectively, if you analyse what he's doing during that performance, it's standard stage manipulation routines. But just by changing the setting, it's added an entirely new dimension to the trick.
Little touches, like when he produces a cane and then he just drops it on the floor and it sticks there. It's just artistic and it's a very nice presentation.
There's so much that goes into it. I mean, that is not an easy routine. It's a really technical, really difficult routine, but just done seamlessly.
The idea of the routine was actually an aging thing, so you become old and die. So I start as me, and there's matches, and you see my face, and the next time you see me, I'm late middle-aged, like I look now. And then the last image is the skull with the flames that come out.
But behind every great magician, there's an equally great assistant. Literally, in this case. And she's nearly naked.
I really wanted to compete naked, but the female producer wouldn't have it and had her in a G-string. But the fact that things flop about a bit more when you haven't got any support on, it wasn't for any perverse reasons that I wanted her naked. It was a feeling that you'd be able to tell in silhouette if she was totally starkers. And you can tell she isn't. 90% of that work is in the relentless rehearsal of it to make it look effortless and natural. And also to give it time, so you're not rushing, you're not shaking about, you're not fidgeting. One thing follows the other in a smooth, hypnotic manner. Wake up.
Next, all the way from Vegas, the bad boy of magic, Criss Angel.
Criss Angel has become a very, very famous guy because of Las Vegas. He has a show every night, sells out every night, and he's become a Las Vegas celebrity.
Well, it's a long story. You want to come in? You're welcome to come in if you want.
In this sequence from his TV show Mind Freak, he looks less Vegas shiny superstar, more grungy, slouchy rock singer.
I went on a date with this girl, and I figured I'd take her to Sunset Park. I brought my fishing.
Criss Angel's had sort of many looks, and I think in this particular video he's probably in his homeless man era. He looks like
if Jesus Christ were dragged through Topshop, he might look just like that.
You see that fish there, a beautiful fish with the big tail over there? It kind of reminds me right there. That reminds me a little bit, honestly, of Dory. But
his slightly dirty demeanour doesn't detract from the audacity of his magic. With no obvious camera trickery and an audience tantalisingly close, he pulled off this trick to the obvious amazement of the onlookers.
What was he talking about? A fish looking like his girlfriend reminded him of his girlfriend? I mean, it was genuinely, it was mental. But as far as the trick goes, it was gobsmacking.
Because if there was a trapdoor in the back, then the water would come out. So there's a trapdoor underneath, but no, if there's a trapdoor underneath, the water would go down.
I don't know where she's come from. It's amazing. It really is amazing.
Magicians have been sawing people in half for years.
Next, a trick as old as magic itself, but with a unique 21st century twist. Here's Kevin James on America's Got Talent, trying to impress the Hoff.
The thing about Kevin James is he is one of the most creative magicians, I think, in the world. The sawing in half is a prime example. He's obviously just gone, I'm going to take it to the ultimate level, and I am literally going to saw someone in half.
I've had friends in the audience who brought their kids for the first time to see it, and the kid jumped out of their seat and into the father's lap.
First of all, you think, oh, well, it can't be real. That he disproves every thought you're having because he puts the body upright and it is real. And the legs are real because they move.
There's one moment that's really shocking. It's when the man without any bottom half goes up on his hands.
Hold on. This isn't possible. Maybe it's a genuine half man.
I think he had no legs. Is that, you think the guy had no legs? I can't get over that if a guy had no legs.
So then Kevin puts them on a table again, puts the legs up to the body, staples them, and then the guy stands up and jumps around, and he's whole again. This is impossible.
The guy is a genius. I think he's brilliant, and I think the trick's amazing.
No one actually gets injured in this trick, so it's all an illusion.
Coming up, new kid on the block Dynamo makes magic up a mountain. A literally heart-stopping magic trick.
Those two nurses just stood there when, as far as they were concerned, they had a dead man stood between them.
And Paul Daniels upsets the nation on Halloween.
All on standby, they have been trained, they know what to do should it go wrong.
Is it gone wrong? What? This isn't normal.
We're counting down TV's 50 greatest magic tricks, and here's one that will baffle your brain.
I'd only ever seen him on television, and then I saw him live, and I just had to kind of turn to my magician friend who was with me, who kind of felt the same way, and I just went, I think he might be the best magician I've ever seen.
I was an only child, and I lived in these apartments where there weren't any.
This is David Copperfield at his schmaltziest best, prefacing a trick with a sincere snippet of his life story.
You know my best dream? My best dream was to fly. Not in a balloon or an airplane.
All accompanied by sentimental music and a captivated audience. His squeeze at the time, supermodel Claudia Schiffer.
Even today, when I feel lonely or insecure, I go back to that dream.
His flying thing with Claudia Schiffer, I mean, the most amazing thing about him, the most sort of jaw-dropping thing about it is the mullet. I mean, that haircut is not very magical.
Equipped with just a pair of stonewashed jeans, a batwing jumper and that hair, Copperfield attempted a seemingly impossible stage levitation and astounded audiences the world over.
So he floats up, dry ice, billowing blouse, and then he ups the ante of the trick at every level.
Just when you think you've worked out what he's doing, Copperfield displays his consummate showmanship, producing some cunningly designed props and a team of assistants to make his levitation appear more impossible.
They put him in that perspex box, which has a lid, and obviously, if people say it must be wires, which they always say, or threads, you can't do that if you've got a perspex box with a lid on it. To prove that it's solid, he has somebody walking across the top of the box and their feet synchronized as they walk. It's just a beautiful presentation.
It's got nothing to do with magic. I mean, no tricks. It's helium inside there. If you look closely at the clip, you see it's quite bulgy under the armpit, right? So that gives him a little bit of lift.
Does it use helium? And that's about all I could say. Lots of people have good theories, but that's all they are.
I believe I can fly. I believe I could eat a pie.
The trick's finale is suitably gobsmacking. David swoops across the dramatically lit stage to be joined mid-flight by a live bird, though sadly not Claudia Schiffer, to the accompaniment of rapturous audience applause.
Even up till show day, we didn't know if we had a good trick or not. But first show, we knew we had a winner. First show.
I first got into magic as a way to get out of trouble at school.
Can you use your bottle?
Yeah. It wasn't the typical route that people would take, you know. I didn't get like a magic set. I didn't really watch any other magicians other than, I suppose, my grandpa, who wasn't a magician himself, but he could do some really cool party tricks.
What's your name, sorry? Sinead. Sinead, I've got Sinead's phone.
PlayStation 4, watch.
I was getting picked on by 2 guys at school. They'd throw me in a bin and push me down the hill. And my grandpa showed me a way of taking away their strength. So that way they couldn't pick me up, I didn't get put in the bin no more, and I didn't have to get thrown down that hill, which was kind of good, because, you know, it wasn't that nice. Have you had a snowball fight yet?
Thanks to Dynamo's granddad, we can see him on the piste astounding some skiers with this seasonal trick.
In front of a bunch of skiers, that has to be the most middle-class magic trick you could possibly imagine.
Do you want to do me a favour and build me a snowball? Not too big, just a small, will you? Yeah. I've never really been up to the slopes before. You know, people go skiing every year, some families. You know, I wasn't one of those people. And all I thought of snow, I thought, this is just going to be freezing. You know, and I'm a northerner. If I thought it was going to be freezing, that's saying something. Because, you know, we're never cold. Perfect, yeah, just hold it like this.
There's some element of mystery to him, and he always seems quite understated and quite modest, which actually I think people really like.
And are any of you guys wearing any jewellery?
You can have your big Las Vegas shows with billions of pounds chucked into them, but a guy standing directly in front of a couple of other guys producing something out of nothing is, in some way, almost more powerful.
You see this, right?
Yeah.
Let's stand here. I just rub over it like that. It disappears, right?
Absolutely.
Let's look at my sleeve, it's gone, right? You built a snowball a second ago.
I did, yeah.
It's been in your hands, right?
Yeah.
Just break it open.
No. The best bit is the actual genuine shock you see on their faces. This is my ring. This is the snowball I was holding. How on earth did he manage to move that ring into there?
How he does it, I don't know, because he made a snowball before he took the ring, didn't he? Yeah, that's amazing, that.
Take the ring back, sorry, yeah.
Still your ring?
I like to believe that I can do magic with anything, anywhere, anytime. Maybe next I need to make someone disappear and then they appear inside a snowman. I think that's the evolution of the ringing snowball.
Presenting Doug and his grand illusion!
It's tough to describe Doug Henning, but I suppose Paul Daniels on acid? In a jumpsuit?
Yes, Doug Henning, a Canadian magic man who made a name for himself in the 70s by changing the image of the traditional magician and wowing crowds in the States with his motorbike, his mullet...
Hi, everybody! I'm going to show you some magic!
And, of course, his magic. Oh, and some dancing. Well, a lot of dancing.
So what did you want to do today, Doug? Well, I've got a motorcycle. I've got some kids in jumpsuits. I thought we'd have a dance routine. Need something more. A rainbow. We're going to dance on a rainbow. I mean, it doesn't get better than that.
Doug Henning was really sort of a fun person and the first person I ever saw to incorporate dancing and magic together.
And they do motorcycle dancing. If you notice, she flies up on the shoulders and she's going vroom, vroom, vroom.
Doug took his magical show to Broadway, combining big storylines with even bigger illusions. In this trick, all the choreography serves as a handy distraction to let Doug get on with the real magic.
But at the time, it worked. Them running across the stage, the changing, the crazy hand actions. I thought it was fun. To make that magic trick work, you needed to be distracted, and it just felt part of the whole performance.
This cage on one side and a box on the other, and it's here 1 second, and then all of a sudden it's gone, and then he appears over here, and it's a great trick.
That motorcycle trick is from a Broadway show called The Magic Show, and it was on Broadway for 4.5 years. No one had seen magic done that way. I think he's fantastic, I really do.
Now a trick that astonished the medical profession. David Berglass stopping his own pulse.
What magicians always want, of course, is an absolutely brilliant, show-stopping piece of magic with no props. And that's what he's done.
I want you to take my pulse, right, and with the other hand indicate to everyone what you can feel, and only what you can feel, all right? So you indicate when you feel the pulse. Do it nice and openly so we can see your hand moving. There we go, fine. All right, good. I'm going to ask you to do the same.
He's standing there, OK? He's got two nurses who are obviously experts at taking pulses. You can hear that pulse as the percussionist is banging out his pulse. And then suddenly it starts to slow down. And then it stops. And there's that wonderful moment where he turns to the nurse. She can't explain it. She's sort of looking, there's this look of bewilderment on her face.
How are you feeling?
I'm not feeling very well.
Cutting your blood supply off to your limb, you can cause damage to the fingers or the toes. You can lose the power of your limb as well, which can actually be permanent if it's a prolonged loss of blood supply as well.
Some people, particularly magicians, dismiss it, saying, oh, it's a schoolboy's trick where you put a hard ball under your arm, and by squeezing it, you can slow down your pulse rate, but you can't stop it. But I stand with my arms right apart like that. I've done it stripped to the waist.
And I'll give you a slow beat on that one.
You can control your pulses, and very few people can do it, by muscular control, and therefore that's why I can separate the two arms. And, of course, the most entertaining part of that effect is having a close-up of their faces, looking really surprised.
I'm going to stop this one now.
As if they truly believed this guy's pulse had stopped. They were incredibly negligent, weren't they? They really should have called in, clear, all that nonsense.
Right. Has it stopped again?
Those two nurses just stood there when, as far as they were concerned, they had a dead man stood between them.
And that seems to be working out pretty well. Thank you very much for coming in. Thank you very much for coming in.
Well, we really wanted to know how that was done, but, you know, he never told us. We really wanted to know, but that was one that was never revealed.
Korean magician An Ha-lim's stylised and highly polished stage performances have proved him to be a master of the art known as card flourishing.
This guy, An Ha-lim, I mean, wow. These are contemporary flourishes to music, showing both hands empty and yet making cards appear. It was just so graceful, and the pace of it was just going on and on. I think it was brilliant.
Lim's at the cutting edge of stage manipulation, which relies heavily on sleight of hand and finger dexterity.
Stage manipulation is easily one of the most technically difficult things you can perform as a magician. There's the colour changes, and the strength that you have to have in your fingers is ridiculous.
All of which Lim achieves effortlessly, even managing to accompany his amazing manual dexterity with a winning smile.
I mean, you're holding out masses of cards.
Lim's routines are a masterclass in choreography and slick showmanship, but no one gets this good without practice.
To do what he does, you've got to be sat in a room on your own for long periods of time.
Used to do.
Like I used to do, with no friends, no missus, nothing.
But it does attract ladies, though, doesn't it?
Not in my experience.
Is it real? Maybe it's real.
Let me try this. Stay right there. Don't move. Let me just try this. Stay right there. I don't know if I'll be able to get off, man. It's kind of hard to.
For his second appearance on our chart, David Blaine is back on the sidewalks of New York with his uber-cool, laid-back brand of street magic, once again provoking audiences to react like this.
David Blaine is a genius. Blaine comes along and tells you, look, it's not about me, it's not even about the magic, it's about you, the audience, and it's about what happens in your mind.
What Blaine did that was very, very clever is he made everything about the spectator's reaction.
Typically, the American spectators don't disappoint with their reactions. They scream, they shriek, and they even run away from this gravity-defying display of freaky magic. You wouldn't catch us shy and reserved Brits acting like this.
In America, the audiences are really excitable, so that when David Blaine does something, they'll go, wow, wow.
There's a huge difference between American audiences and British audiences, and it's because of the way we're brought up. Us Brits are brought up to be very polite and don't shout, you know, get your elbows off the table and we're all good manners. We're Americans, no offence, are a little bit wilder and they react.
Definitely, Blaine's magic does not play the same to every audience in the world. I think his performance is uniquely American in many ways, and therefore, you know, he's been amazingly successful over there.
Levitating on the streets appears all the more impressive, as Blaine apparently has no wires to hold him up, and witnesses stand just meters away. So how does he do it? Is he on wires? Is it an optical illusion? Perhaps it's a bit simpler than that.
It's kind of a playground trick that you can do without hardly any preparation, just by a little bit of muscular manipulation. And it's incredibly effective for that reason.
Coming up, a card trick that fooled the big boys.
You fooled us.
Mad magic in the Nevada desert.
It's just that twist just left me with my mouth on the floor.
And a family favourite makes headlines.
Magic!
But before that, had enough of Christmas? Would you like to get away from all the tinsel, wrapping paper and Christmas songs? As part of our end-of-year list show specials, we're giving you the chance to win your choice of holiday from our list of top 3 destinations. A break to Venice, a trip to bustling New York, or a few days in the Maldives. All you have to do is answer the following question. What song is traditionally sung on New Year's Eve? Is it A, Merry Christmas, B, Auld Lang Syne, or C, Happy Birthday? To enter, just call 0904 161 9955 or text WIN plus A, B or C to 65550 or post your answer, name and phone number to WIN PO Box 7557 Derby DE1 0NP. Calls cost £1.53 from a BT landline. Other networks vary and mobiles will cost considerably more. Text costs £1.50 plus standard network rate. Lines close midday 12th of January 2012 and 3 days later for postal entries. Entries received after competition closes will not be counted but may be charged. For rules and winners, go to channel5.com/win. Welcome back to our countdown of marvellous magic moments. And here's another one.
Trucks. The big rigs.
At 24, dynamic duo Penn and Teller take to the streets of New York to perform a trick with a truck, which, as it turns out, isn't half as dangerous as it looks.
This is Victoria Jackson standing in the shadow of Radio City Music Hall in New York City.
The head of NBC called us up and said, what does it cost me to get you to do the truck trick?
I've got perfect line of sight right here. I'm going to stay here and just watch to make sure there's no trickery.
We kind of laughed and said, I don't know, and gave a number. And he gave us a TV special with the idea that we're going to run a truck over Teller.
I'm going to run a truck over my partner Teller's chest.
When you're 18, 19, 20, the moments that are could be dangerous are exciting.
In the event of an accident, a ghastly mishap sure to involve crushed bones and severed limbs, please, no flash photography.
Once you cross like 30 and you're no longer immortal, those are the worst moments.
Take a look at the setup. Take a look at Teller. Take a look at the truck. What do you think?
The sound of the engine with the wheel going over the chest looks fabulous, really good.
What Penn and Teller brought to the world of magic is that they actually let the audience in as well. So it's not all about keeping the audience away from the secrets. They let people have a peek inside, which I think is really nice.
Yes, this is the only time on our list that someone's going to reveal their secrets.
Trick truck. We got 6,000 pounds of stage weights, 8,000 pounds of wheel weights, and we got 3,000 pounds of concrete all over this side to counterbalance the foam rubber tires.
I was watching it with a friend and we had theories about when there was a close-up on him being run over, that wasn't really the truck, it was just a big wheel that was going over him. But then when you see how they did it and they cantilever it and weigh it down on one side, you're like, oh, of course, easy.
Revealing it makes it 10 times better. It makes it more entertaining. Because magic at the end of the day is about entertainment.
I would never have given it away. I thought the method was brilliant.
I thought you said it looked frightening from over there, Victoria.
I lied through my teeth, just like you told me to.
Nice work, Victoria. I hope you made some money.
And whenever you have a trick that how it's done is more interesting than the trick itself, you've got a very bad trick. Very, very bad trick. Because you shouldn't be getting more pleasure than the audience.
Thank you, thank you.
Magic isn't all about flashy performances and glamorous settings, as novice escapologist Ali Cook definitely proved.
I am not an escapologist, and I don't even like baths, let alone getting in a tank of freezing water. I was really nervous, it was freezing cold, I hated it, and I cannot explain how scary it is.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay.
As fast as you can on the lid. Yeah, you ready?
Ali was moaning because the water was too cold. You know, not that he might drown, but that the water was too cold.
I slightly suffer from claustrophobia.
Egged on by his best mate and fellow magician Pete Furman, Ali was persuaded to strip to his trunks in a disused warehouse to recreate Houdini's famous water tank escape for their TV show, Monkey Magic.
We got our mate to build this water tank in his garden shed, and the water tank was built out of a garden shed and a bit of glass. It was useless. When we first attempted it, the water swells up the wood and the lid got jammed with me trapped inside it. But they all thought it was hilarious. And then the producer's like, do it again.
I had to hold the screen in front of the tank whilst the magic was happening. You know, my mate's in there underwater, locked in. I've just padlocked. I'm sort of responsible. I'm just staring out front and hoping for the best.
After just 12 seconds, it looked like Ali had successfully escaped, but that wasn't the end of the trick.
What's great about that routine, why I like it so much, is that wrinkle at the end where he's holding the camera. I just thought that was a really nice touch.
There's something better about being a bit naff at escapology, so if you do get out, it's just as amazing for yourself as it is the audience.
Next, Chris Angel. According to this title sequence, the grungy, edgy, rock and roll bad boy of magic.
The coin in the arm trick pretty much tells you everything you need to know about Chris Angel.
He looks like the stuff nightmares are made of. He looks like the guy that you meet in a club that's going to kill you before you get home.
Coin magic is traditionally quite twee. You know, it's little kind of bits of whimsy, like 4 coins travel from hands to hand, you know, passy coins.
You can sign it with your initial, you put whatever you'd like on there.
At first, this seems like a perfectly ordinary coin trick.
You would be able to identify that quarter.
Yes.
When you see it again, right?
Yes.
But as befits Angel's persona, it soon becomes apparent that this illusion is going to have a more sinister tone.
K.A.
I don't know if you've got any idea how many germs there are on the average coin, but if you knew that, you would not put it anywhere near your mouth, trust me.
The disappearing act then takes on a stomach-churning quality as the coin seems to slide under his skin.
Oh, my God.
Make him stop. The second you see a blade, you know where this is going.
The watching audience says it all.
Is that your signature?
Oh, my God. Yes.
It's disgusting. But then probably if you stop and think about it, you just think, well, that can't be real. I mean, there's no way he can make a coin go down his arm underneath his skin and pop out at his wrist. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Next, one French magician attempting to fool 2 American magicians, Penn and Teller.
I love this trick. I think it's fantastic because it's completely different.
In a deck of cards, I have red card and black cards. Which one you want?
Red.
Red cards. Okay, can you throw the balloon somewhere else?
All it is really is just a card trick. Someone thinks of a card and he tells them that he knew all along what the card was going to be. That's the plot of every card trick that ever was.
In the red card, we have hearts and diamonds. Which one do you want?
Diamonds.
Throw the ball.
What's difficult is to make a standard card trick into something theatrical and interesting and completely impossible.
High card and low card, which one do you want?
High.
It's
a genuinely free choice. Spectators can call out any card, any suit, any value.
Which one do you want?
9?
9. That is a diamond, red, and it's a 9 of diamond.
That trick, I think, is the quintessential fool us trick, because if you saw that at another show, it would be good. But on our show, it was great because you knew there was no jive and you were seeing everything, and you were seeing everything.
In this box, I have a very special deck of cards. It's special because I have only 3 printed cards in that deck.
Cards come out of the box. It's a blank pack of cards. This is weird. He's laying some cards down. It's very elegant, it's very clean. There's no superfluous moves. He doesn't speak, it's just him doing his thing. Like a beautiful little performance.
Magic's all about giving your audiences places to go and leading them down the garden path and then just hitting them with an effect. And they kind of go, oh, what? How did that happen?
It's not just one card, it was like the prediction is spread across the whole deck.
Oh boy, that's a good trick. That's an astonishing trick.
When he takes the deck out, he does a sort of a kind of a weird move. Not a magician's move, but it's a sort of as if there's something else in there as well. And Penn and Teller called him on it and said, you know, what else is in the box?
We think the box does matter, and we think the box has more than one deck in it. Let's put it that way. There's other stuff in the box besides the one deck.
Okay, I can tell you.
Can I show?
And there's that wonderful moment where he opens the box. They applaud him because he even guessed that that's what they would think was the solution.
He knew we would go there and we would be wrong, which was just a little added twist, a little added you to us that was just wonderful and terrific. You fooled us. Yeah, come on! It's a wonderful skill and practice and handling, and it is physical, intellectual, and conceptual. It's just great.
At 20, another chart appearance for American illusionist Franz Harari. This man has made space shuttles, skyscrapers, and our very own Tower Bridge disappear. Whatever next?
Well, I got this Hummer. I got me and my buddies in Vegas, and I have this Japanese megastar. What can we do?
Well, head out to the Nevada desert, obviously.
We had the Hummer, we had a couple of bed sheets from the hotel and a carpet and some of my friends from Vegas and some of Taki's friends from Japan. So we're all kind of out there having basically a picnic in the desert, playing around, kicking up a lot of dirt. And we played with a lot of different things. But one of the things that we experimented with was this illusion.
On the day, Franz was ably assisted by Japan's answer to Justin Timberlake, pop star Takisawa. I wonder if he knew what he was letting himself in for.
The Hummer would go straight at Taki at about 60 miles an hour. And in the desert, with all the sand, we knew that we were taking a serious risk because there would be no way to stop the Hummer if something was to go horribly awry.
And then the camera follows that Hummer around to a stop. And you're thinking, no, don't do this to me. And then when he steps out the car, it's just that twist that is just left me with my mouth on the floor.
I couldn't do that, obviously. Can you imagine saying to your mates, we're just hanging out, what should we do? Will you stand there, I've got a blanket, get in my Honda Civic and drive it in as fast as you can, and let's just see where this goes. I'm sure something magic's going to happen.
This is an Iron Maiden.
This next trick was performed live on the Paul Daniels Magic Show on Halloween in 1987.
I have to warn you, this can go wrong. That is not a joke.
Producer came to me and he asked me, first of all, if I could do something that would be about the same level as War of the Worlds, the Orson Welles radio show that people panicked all over New York and started leaving the city. And I said, well, you can only do something like that if it's live.
The spikes themselves, there's 110 of them, and they're all metal.
A lot of people, when they see things like this on TV, they go, oh, yeah, it's all fake, it's all a scam.
Now, up there's lead shot. That rolls down this chute, goes into this metal canister here.
He's not quite sure how long the ball bearings are going to take.
Once the pin is out, nothing can stop that door slamming into the cabinet.
Even though there's a trick involved, they can go wrong. There's always a possibility that you could get splattered.
I need a little extra room than the jacket will allow me. Thank you, Debbie.
Part of the tension was that before he actually got in it was to send me out of the room.
And I want you to leave the room completely.
That was quite difficult for me because I really had to act because I knew the reason was to build tension.
He doesn't waste any time. Could somebody...
He's basically chained up, manacled to this weird sort of medieval torture thing.
The BBC staff here are all on standby. They have been trained. They know what to do should it go wrong.
I really enjoyed the building up of tension, like when he said...
There's no blame attached to any of them.
No one's to blame. He really wound you into that.
What I've got to try to do is escape from this before the weight drops.
He always has backup plans, but when it actually came to it, there's always that thing in your head, there could be something we haven't thought of.
Now, don't move forward, anyone.
Suddenly the door slams closed. Paul Daniels isn't around. There's no climax. There's no resolution. And then you hear this lovely clipped BBC voice.
Ladies and gentlemen, please leave the room in an orderly fashion.
The titles roll. And there's no music. What's happened? What's gone on here? Is it gone wrong? This isn't normal.
This was a prime time show on BBC One where mistakes never happen.
Paul's brief had been to cause a stir that would have the nation really wondering. But I don't think they were quite prepared for what did happen.
Within minutes, the BBC switchboard was jammed with thousands of phone calls fearing the worst, that Paul had actually perished live on telly. Later that evening, the magician was forced to make an unscheduled appearance on BBC One to reassure the viewers.
Well, you were warned before the programme started. Nothing is as it seems. I'm fine, thank you very much for all your phone calls, and I'll see you next time on the Paul Daniels Magic Show. Trick or treat.
When they were told, no, he's fine, he's fooled us again. And that was great. That's my job.
Still to come, trouble on the tube with a mind manipulator.
Thinking about it now, what stop were you getting off at?
You'd have to be a little bit wary around Derren Brown if he was your friend. Kind of butter him up and treat him nicely.
A game of pool that left this bloke snookered.
Are you going to tell me how you do that then or not?
It doesn't even look like a magic trick. It just looks like someone who's slightly insane, you know.
Welcome back to the show where the magic's so mind-blowing it would baffle Harry Potter.
Derren Brown is an incredible performer. He revolutionised British magic.
Everyone watches his shows. You go into work the next day and everybody's talking about it.
Most people don't even think of him as a magician.
Travelling on the London Underground is hard enough without Derren Brown messing with your head.
The stop you're getting off at was... Archway. Archway, excellent, okay. And you're, visiting a friend there?
Yeah, visiting a friend there.
Excellent, okay. You got a good memory?
Yeah, I've got a very good memory, yeah.
You look like you've got a good memory. So, what stop? Thinking about it now, what stop? Thinking about it now, what stop were you getting off at?
What you're actually seeing there is a waking state of hypnosis, which makes it really intriguing. We've never seen that before. He has no idea where he's going. He has literally got amnesia.
Do you remember why you're going there?
To visit friends.
Visit a friend. And where is it? What stop?
Here's a guy on TV who's making a member of the public, just a guy who he meets on a tube train, forget something that is as easy as his name.
Spooky. Yeah. You can remember your friend?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember my friends.
Can you picture his house? Where does he live? Look.
Archway.
Archway. That was very... Oh, this is Archway now. You better go.
He literally goes up, waves his fingers, they forget, hits them on the head, they remember.
Archway.
No idea what he does. No idea.
Oh, I don't understand how they do that, and I would like to know, whenever I meet people like Derren Brown, you ask them, they're always very... I can't tell you, it's magic. It's not magic, is it?
You'd have to be a little bit wary around Derren Brown if he was your friend, kind of butter him up and treat him nicely. And you'd never really know whether you'd forgotten something or if you hadn't. So he's a scary man, definitely.
Will he wait for you if you catch...
I'm supposed to meet him at 11:45 and I'm late as it is. Oh.
I kind of like doing magic with everyday objects, and particularly things that are easy to carry, you know. So, you know, a pack of cards is ideal. You know, you've got 52 props and it fits in your pocket, you know. So we've got a pack of cards here. Now, what I'm going to do is get you to choose one of these. Obviously, I don't want you to see them. Just face down, have one, and make sure it is a free choice and that I'm not forcing any particular one on you.
You're not forcing any at me, are you? No.
Nah, I wouldn't do that. That'd be cheating.
Paul Zenon is the quintessential pub magician. I mean, he looks like the kind of guy who would show you a trick and then try and sell you a used car. He's got possibly the worst leather jacket in history on TV.
All right, have a quick look. Show the camera. I won't look.
But if the jury's out on his fashion sense, there's no doubting his skills with a pack of cards, a willing stooge and a pool cue.
It's important. It doesn't matter if I know where the card is, but it's important you don't know where your card is.
Rightio.
Now, if you could just take all those two balls a second, I'm going to spread these out all over the table. OK. Now, in a second, I'm going to get you to hit the cue ball against the black ball and just ricochet it a few times around the table, however many times you like. Right. As long as that doesn't go in, we'll be all right. OK. Oh, look at that. It's heading for... I don't think there's any doubt as to what card that's closest to.
I think the trick with the pool ball landing on the card is just incredible, because if you look, you've got 52 cards and he spreads them out on the table. He's really got no way of knowing where that black ball is going to land.
You chose... What was the card? You can name the card.
It's the Queen of Hearts.
Do you want to turn that one over?
That's amazing. That's incredible. Yeah. Are you going to tell me how you do that then or not?
The only thing that was disappointing about that trick was the bloke's reaction. I mean, he went, oh, that's amazing. If I was Paul Zenon, I'd be like, it's a miracle. It's not amazing. It's a miracle.
For the next trick on our magic list, we're taking a trip to the dark side.
We hadn't seen anything like it. It was just macabre and dangerous.
Magician Simon Drake was certainly not afraid of shocking the audience.
Simon Drake's brilliance was to marry the kinds of pleasure of a really schlocky Hammer horror movie with a genuine magic trick.
It's a sort of traditional magic trick which we souped up and turned into a little story.
And the story was that the assistants have inexplicably turned against Simon and decided to give him a taste of his own medicine.
He took the guillotine trick, performed it on himself, which gave an added sense of danger.
Everything we've seen as an audience before suggested that perhaps the little carrots either side would get chopped, but he would remain safe. That's the guillotine trick that people know. So to have this sudden twist, brilliant, delicious.
We had people faint and things, but people have always been fascinated by horror. I think it's really a brain chemistry thing, that they get a shot of their own adrenaline. That's kind of, I think, why people like it subconsciously. They like to be thrilled.
This next trick is a surprise item. I'll be surprised if it works.
People do ask me to do it quite a lot. It's the one that they mostly remember of mine.
It's a trick with a newspaper.
Well, he used to be on a programme called Crackerjack. That's right, every Friday. And as a kid, you couldn't wait for two people, Ali Bongo and the Great Soprendo.
He's fantastic. And he's got the character spot on. So with that character, he could do anything.
Geoffrey Durham, the comedy magician and entertainer, and former husband of Victoria Wood, is probably best known for playing the part of a magical Spaniard.
Everybody to remember something in this copy of the newspaper.
As the great soprendo, Geoffrey has been performing this classic trick for over 30 years.
Or an advertisement. Something which you will know again.
For most of us, a newspaper is something to read and throw away, or recycle. But this trick involves something much more entertaining.
Torn newspaper. Now, it's called an illusion, because I never, ever tear the newspaper. The idea of the trick is to make you think that I'm tearing the newspaper into lots and lots of little pieces, but I never tear it once. You know, people really do things. They see me tear the newspaper. Isn't this stupid?
People have been tearing up and restoring newspapers for about 200 years. It's a really old trick. The method that I used, I got out of a book.
I say the magic words. Ole! Tricky-tracky-hacky.
And then I started to realise that I'd changed it hugely.
And the newspaper is completely back to normal.
The version that he does is his own version, Geoffrey Durham's own version, and it is brilliant. And again, the presentation is so slick. And when he opens it up at the end, it's just done like that.
You see, there's the newspaper.
It has to be a broadsheet newspaper, because at the end, when you bring it back, it has to be with your arms outstretched.
Front page, and that's magic.
If the Daily Telegraph goes tabloid, I've lost a trick. And when it goes to iPads, well, I'm completely stuffed.
Siegfried and Roy, prime example. They are the kings of magic and illusion. They just bring a story to life using amazing and big productions.
They would incorporate some standard illusions into the show, but by putting a big tiger into it, wow, it lifts it again.
This illusion, entitled Dream, combined a number of the Teutonic pair's trademarks: a big cat, Hollywood production values, some camp but graceful stage moves, and a dramatic ending designed to leave audiences gasping in awe.
Siegfried and Roy particularly liked white animals, so they had white tigers, but they grow bigger than a normal tiger, and in my opinion are more dangerous than a normal tiger.
As the music built and Siegfried demonstrated his flawless showmanship, the trick reached its dramatic conclusion. And the audience went wild in amazement. Not surprising, really, as Roy appears to be struggling with a wild animal inside a very confined space.
Bang, they both vanish and appear in another box that's at the front of the stage that's been on view throughout the whole of the act. It's so quick, it's polished, it's just superb.
Siegfried and Roy used animals that are quite difficult to control, but Roy really had an amazing affinity with them.
Despite Roy's trust in his animals, it all nearly ended in tragedy. During a live show in 2003, things went horribly wrong.
Roy Horn of the Siegfried and Roy team remains in critical condition tonight after being mauled by a tiger during a show in Las Vegas.
Both Siegfried and Roy said they didn't blame the animal. They felt sorry for the animal, that it was something else must have happened to trigger this behavior. But Roy nearly died.
Grabs him, like just locks on him, picks him up and just drags him. He looked like a rag doll in his mouth. I mean, that thing just had him by kind of like the shoulder and the face.
Monticore, a white tiger Roy had reared since birth, appeared to be disturbed by a member of the audience and reacted violently.
That developed into a full-blown attack. He dropped him, grabbed him by the neck and dragged him off the stage, which is a natural thing for a tiger to do.
Since the attack, Roy has made some steps towards recovery, but the animal-loving pair will never again return to the Vegas stage.
I don't think there'll ever be any act as good as Siegfried and Roy, but there'll obviously be other acts that use tigers and stuff. But it won't be mine.
Ronald Reagan made me a professional magician because I went on holiday and Ronald Reagan started a recession on purpose. And when I came back, my job was gone, so I just had to do tricks just to make a little money. The person who cuts the highest card gets to do it.
It wasn't the only time John found himself out on his ear.
Danielle.
He was the first person to be expelled from the magic circle in 85 years after revealing the secret of a 3-card trick. But he didn't reveal the secret of this one.
It's a classic plot. Something disappears, it ends up somewhere else. But let's take it to a massive scale.
Is choose a platform. And so of any one of the 19 platforms, name one.
Pick a platform, any platform.
12.
12. That one. Come here, let me show you.
We had to time a trick to British Rail being on time. I mean, cut me a break. That's the biggest magic trick of all.
I will give you this handkerchief if you give me your shoe.
Don't want to give me my shoe.
I'll hold you out, Karen. Okay, here you go. I'll swap you.
And this train's coming in, on a platform you've chosen. It's not random.
The train is coming, so place it over top, just like that, okay?
Right.
Now, here's the interesting thing. Watch close.
Go on.
Making a shoe vanish, it can't go up your sleeve. You know, it's not a coin, it's not a card, you know?
Check this out. Just here, you will notice... I told you to say, no, quick.
My guilty pleasure was seeing my good mate Danny Buckler dressed as a sort of a Cinderella footman.
He really wasn't happy to wear that outfit.
Whoever the slipper fits is the girl I shall marry. And I'm guessing that's you by the look of things.
Don't look at me.
Beautiful. Hold still.
Oh, no, you can't look at me, Pete. I haven't painted my toes.
She was upset because she hadn't painted her toenails. Danielle, yes. Yeah, I still think about Danielle from time to time.
It fits.
It's your shoe.
Hey!
Marvellous. I was on the train, I've got the shoe, and I'm not telling you how I got the shoe, but I've got the shoe, and there's a man standing in between me and the door on his way to work. So I'm like, I'm sorry, Chief, but I don't know if you've noticed, but we're doing a little bit of filming on the station. Is there any chance that I'm late for work? He was not best pleased that his morning commute was being interrupted by what appeared to be a French prince from the 19th century.
People would try to guess how things were done. And there was this website, and then this one guy, it was like he was there. It was step for step exactly what we did all the way through. And then at the very bottom he wrote, but of course, that's ridiculous. Nobody would do it like that. And nobody paid any attention to him. So the secret is held.
So, bless you for that.
I don't fool people very often. I mean, I do magic, but I'm a comedian. And that trick really fools people, and that's what I like about it.
Still to come, plenty of magic moments to delight.
They're so toned and they're just beautiful to look at.
You're watching TV's 50 Greatest Magic Tricks, and before you can say abracadabra, here's another one. This next performance of the famous metamorphosis trick has been enjoyed by millions.
Now, ready, Sooty, Izzy Wizzy, let's get busy. How about that?
No, not Sooty's version. This more showy performance by the Penn Dragons.
I became involved in magic when I was a student, and I met Jonathan Pendragon. I was a dance major and he was a theater major, and together we mixed those arts and combined them with the magic, which was his love.
You could just sit and look at them, you know, just the way they're so toned and they're just beautiful to look at.
You can't say that Charlotte's outfit is a big stage outfit. But the reason why her outfits are skimpy is she's got a fantastic body. I'm not a great fan of a super high cut on the hips, but I think that was an 80s thing.
I wanted to accomplish from Metamorphosis is just this instantaneous piece of magic. You know, so less than a second, you see someone, they're gone, and another person is right there.
How'd they do that?
It's just mind-boggling.
Wow. If you're going to do a trick like Metamorphosis, you do have to do a lot of rehearsal, particularly to get to the speed that Charlotte Pendragon could do that at, and Jonathan, of course. And they were both extremely fit.
The Pendragons lived and performed together for over 25 years, but things weren't always harmonious for Magic's golden couple.
Because you're always together. You know, you always have to make it work, you know, in some way. and sometimes it doesn't work.
But in 2009, it seems the stresses of their relationship got too much for Charlotte and Jonathan. Police were called to their home after reports that Jonathan had fired a gun.
Charlotte said he shot it at the floor. The whole thing sounded crazy. Later on, Jonathan was sectioned for psychiatric issues. All I want to say is I would not want to run into a crazy gun-wielding magician any day of the week.
The magic may be over for the Pendragon's relationship, but their routines live on.
They've taken a classic of magic and illusion and perfected it in such a way that I don't believe that it could be bettered, ever.
I caught this little nibbling through the cables in the kitchen.
Rest assured that no mice were harmed in the filming of this next trick. Although telly presenter Josie Darby's never been the same since.
Well, she's very pink.
Pete Furman is one of the best comedy magicians in the country. You know, he's got this angelic face, and he's doing something supremely evil.
I also got Betty one of those things, you know, that mice and gerbils go round and round in, you know, the...
Yeah, wheel?
No, a blender. Playtime, Betty, playtime! The mouse in the blender routine is basically upping the ante on the old, can I borrow your watch, sir? I'm going to smash it up, and now it's OK. I mean, that's what it is. We just sort of, you know, took it to the max. Pick a number, 1, 2 or 3?
3.
3. 1. 2. Three? That doesn't sound too bad. That sounds all right.
Pete discovered quite a long time ago that if you just kill animals in the name of magic, it's hilarious. Either that or they're very, very offended. It just looks incredible, and it just looks like you killed a mouse.
Sorry, that was no trick, but I had fun. Thanks a lot for coming. So... We were trying to push the envelope of taste as well as magic, but I think it's just, you know, I think originality is key, really.
At number 10, magic married couple David and Dania. Their performance on America's Got Talent made the audience do this and the judges do this. All thanks to an astonishing quick change routine.
The original act we were probably not comfortable with until up to a 5-year period of time. You know what I mean? With dance teachers and motion and every movement to where you're like a clock and you can do it in your sleep.
It's staggering. The impact is fantastic. We've seen it live, and it's unbelievable.
David and Dania have shown me their costumes. I have stood at the side of the stage. I cannot see how they do it, even though I've seen their costumes and I'm standing 5 feet from them. It's that quick and that good.
Never underestimate the power of the assistant. She really is.
Dania is very, very good. I think she comes from a European circus family.
It's pretty physical for me. It's pretty physical, so you have to be a very strong girl to do this act.
Where do they hide all of the dresses? When you see David wrapping Dania around in that, like, chiffon big cloth, the dress doesn't fall on the floor, and she changes twice. This is fantastic. Then comes the confetti. It is the most magical moment I think I've ever seen. It's like something out of a Disney sort of movie. And I love the judges' faces when they see it.
I'm floored. I don't... How did you do that?
Next, a magic trick that should definitely come with a government health warning.
I have to say my favourite trick out of all of these is Tom Mullica's cigarette eating thing.
It is striking to see somebody take a lit cigarette and just go whap. And there, not only one, you know, just whap, whap.
My favourite bit in the whole thing is when he looks at the girl and smiles. You can't conceive of getting that many cigarettes in your mouth? And then he's opening his mouth up.
Any trick that involves chewing or eating tobacco, we would definitely not advise.
To the disappointment of tobacconists everywhere, Tom eventually decided to change his act and give up smoking. Apparently, it wasn't as painless as he made it look.
I said to him, you can't stop doing it, it's great. And he said, you know, it hurts. And I went, I mean, it really? He says, of course it hurts. I throw lit cigarettes in my mouth, it hurts. Oh, okay, you can stop.
He's a nutter.
He's a nutter, yeah. He's crazy.
What a mentalist, just...
And that's crazy.
Crazy he most definitely is. In 1996, escapologist Robert Gallup decided to perform the ultimate escape for an American TV special.
Now, Houdini, I mean, he escaped from handcuffs and manacles and mailbags and jail cells, and in fact was one of the first aviators in the world. I'm thinking, God, if he was alive today, what would he do?
Robert decided that what he might do is escape from handcuffs, inside a chained mail sack, inside a locked cage, all whilst free-falling from an aeroplane.
When he came up with that idea, I just thought he was crazy. There was some test cages that we needed to make, and we built a couple to see how they would fall and how they would fly. And, you know, you have to test these things to find out how much time you've got before this thing hits the ground.
Training for the death dive took about 9 months. Now, firstly, I had to learn how to skydive, but not just normal skydive. I actually had to learn how to pick locks in free fall. That in itself was a challenge. Yeah, I was nervous just before we got in the plane. But once we got in the plane, everything was like regimented, and we had to work to clockwork. So once I was in the plane, I was cool, but leading up to it, I was pretty scared.
How can you control yourself when you're plummeting to the ground, you know? Just to have enough sense left in you to actually open something, extricate keys, locks, picks, that kind of thing.
There's no getting around the fact that he was in mortal peril for a lot of that.
What happens if his shoelace just got snagged on the prison cell that they've also thrown out of the plane? It really will go down in like the history of magic as probably the best escape there ever is, really.
Still to come, a magic trick of biblical proportions.
Someone shouted out to me, "Do a moonwalk on the water."
Ooh, brilliant. Welcome back. We've seen some amazing feats of magic, but the best is yet to come.
Just hold that there.
The goldfish trick came from a collaborative discussion, really.
I remember being in the room when we all sort of brainstormed it.
Fish, fishing.
Now I'm going to send the line down a little bit at a time.
Maggots.
Swallowing the thread and pulling it out of the stomach.
We thought, what's the grossest possible stuff we could do with all these things?
What they came up with was a trick to retrieve a goldfish from inside Pete's stomach. His glamorous assistant is Nadia, the transsexual winner of Big Brother 5.
We used to be flatmates, and he eats maggots, he collects toads. He'll just try and do anything he can with dodgy objects.
He's one of those guys who, you go and see him, you'll be amazed, and you'll laugh too.
That's my tummy. Yeah?
That is your tummy.
I'll do it again.
If you actually look closely, when he's pulling the thread out of his stomach, you can see a line of blood.
The biggest, like, gross out moment was when I pulled down my eyelid.
Come closer, come closer. Come closer.
And that maggot just popped out.
God! Oh my God!
I mean, that was like a gasp in the studio.
He just found the grossest thing possible, so he eats the maggot. There's no secret to that. He just practiced eating maggots.
Oh, that's gross.
For any animal lovers out there, I'm a bit worried about the maggot. Unfortunately, the maggot gets it.
Nadia, grab the glass, grab the glass, grab the glass.
We did have someone that had to okay the welfare of the goldfish.
Oh, my God.
But, I mean, I wasn't that bothered. They were only £1.
I think I once regurgitated a frog.
I don't know if that's magic or just bulimia.
I regurgitated a pizza.
Yeah.
But that was not intentional. It was not magic either.
I can say that the Goldfish retired from show business after that performance, and they lived long and fruitful, fishy lives in North London.
Our next trick is definitely not new. It was done before many years ago by a bloke called Jesus. But here's a skinny lad from Bradford with his own take on a biblical miracle.
So I woke up at 6 in the morning and I thought, yeah, what can I do today? Called my boy Dan. He grabbed the camera and we just moseyed on down there, and yeah, it was a nice sunny day. Time to put River Thames back on the map.
And that's how Dynamo came to the decision to attempt the feat of walking on water. Although, unlike Jesus, he had his boy Dan to capture the event for posterity.
Dynamo's walking on water looked superb. Outside one of the world's most monumental buildings, just outside Big Ben and the Houses of Parliament. Great.
Ben walking on water.
I took that first step and there was maybe 20 people looking. And by the time I got to the middle of the river and just kind of turned around, and there was 2,000 people on that bridge.
At first I was we're obviously just walking on something, but then they have the strategically placed canoes that go right in his wake. I'm like, well, canoes couldn't go over if there's something there. What is he doing?
There was a ferry going past. Then Michael Jackson playing on this ferry, and someone shouted out to me, "Do a moonwalk on the water." I was thinking, I'm not going to push my luck right now. I'm not the best swimmer.
He's got his messianic pose. The Messiah has landed. He's on the Thames. He's standing on water. And then you hear this, "Oi, don't move!" Some police guy on a riverboat who then comes and sort of drags him onto the boat. And then you're thinking, is he been arrested?
Wonder if they charged him even for jaywalking on the river. Not using a proper crossing like a bridge.
Everyone's seen a magician put a girl in a box and then shove swords through. But normally it's some cheesy-looking box, and then they have these naff swords and they stick them through, and you don't believe it's real in the slightest.
At number 5, something for flat pack fans. Husband and wife team Shahid and Lisa Malik have been performing this death-defying but relatively cheap illusion for more than 30 years.
It is an ordinary cardboard carton. And it's folded flat to start with, so I open it up, assemble it into a box in full view of the audience, and we can put it down anywhere. The fact that we do it on stage is not important, so it doesn't require a trapdoor, honest.
I think it's amazing because there is no trick to that other than he is sticking, wooden skewers through a cardboard box with his missus in.
Again, she's there, she does not go anywhere, and if you saw it in a live situation, you'd realise that. The sticks are not bendy, they are real wooden dowels, which are extremely sharp. People want to see something a little bit edgy, something a little bit dangerous, close to impossible.
There's also a good chance that Lisa could get seriously injured if she doesn't keep her wits about her.
There's a high probability I'm going to get caught. And I do get caught, and I'm scarred quite badly around my body. I nearly lost an eye once.
She must be like a little ninja in that box, ducking and diving. It was the sort of thing in Karate Kid. You could imagine in Karate Kid someone dodging these sticks at lightning speed, and that's how you become a master or something.
Sometimes when you're on stage, you tend to get a little bit carried away and forget what you're doing, especially when you do it thousands and thousands of times, which we have. So your mind tends to wander a little bit and you forget, actually, I should be doing this and this one should have gone there and so on.
He must have some way of knowing exactly where he's going to put the sticks. Well, either that or he just doesn't care that much. It's one or the other.
Despite Shahid's attempts to maim his wife every night, he has managed to maintain a happy and loving relationship.
This old classic question, what do you do if you have a row?
Should have a row before we do this.
Simple, precise, impossible to explain, totally impossible to explain. How she didn't get killed every night, I don't know. Well, it only happened once, wouldn't it?
With His third appearance on our chart, master magician Paul Daniels, and a trick that requires speed of hand and tongue.
It took me, 18 months of doing it just about every night in working men's clubs. And every night coming home and thinking about it.
See, I walk on, a mind reader, I know what you're thinking. What's that? Many people wonder, what is that? That is, in truth, the world's oldest recorded trick.
Very simple game to follow. You know, is the ball in the cup, under the cup, or is it in my pocket?
Desperately wishing he'd gone.
Paul has been performing the chop cup routine for decades and has perfected it to such a point that it's mind-boggling to watch. It just goes to show that practice really can make perfect.
Is if I sneak it into my left hand, because if the ball's in my left hand, it's in my left hand. If it's not in my hand, it's under the cup. If it's under the cup, it's not in my hand at all. If it's in that hand, it can be in that. If it was in that, it can be up there. If it was up there, it can be down there. If it was in the pocket at the same time, it can be up there at the same time as on the cup. If the cup and the ball together, they can't be separate. They can't be together. If it's up there at the same time. Now, if the cup and the ball are separate and the cup is empty, you can't have the ball. You got the ball in the cup, you can't be in the pocket. In the pocket, you can't be in the can at the same time as on the cup. If, on the other hand, the ball and the cup are together, then the cup... You're not following this, are you?
His brain works 10 times faster than anybody else's I know. You still go, how did he do that? And you're looking, I know how it's all done, a lot of magicians know it's all done, and you're looking at his hands, you go, well, I know how that move works, but you can't see him do it still. It's brilliant.
Where's the ball? It's in the cup. In the cup. Take it out, put it into my pocket. Where is it now? For £50.
It's, in your pocket.
In my pocket. In other words, it can't be under the cup, right?
Right.
Wrong. Now, this trick,
he controls the stage, whether he's doing it in your living room or in an arena. The wonderful thing about Paul Daniels is his personality. He does the chop cup brilliantly. Technically, it's flawless, but that's not what it's all about. Paul Daniels understands no matter what he's doing at any place or any time, it's about the entertainment.
Now, you've got to put the cup down to catch a ball that goes up your sleeve, across your shoulder, down the side, under the cup. But be very careful that you don't put the ball into the wrong pocket, because when you go flick, everybody claps. Why do they clap? Because when you flick, you've got a lemon. It baffles them completely, don't know where it comes from.
The speed of it is amazing, his patter is incredible, and his misdirection with his jacket is impeccable. Brilliant.
If you'll clap that, you'll go mad over the orange. I don't know where that...
I still put lines in, I still think, I still dissect every trick I do. And so the chop cup is there, but it still develops.
That's magic!
After the break, we discover which masterful magicians have made it into our top 3.
I would stick my neck out, I think, and say that I think this is the greatest magic trick of all time.
It's nearly time to reveal the greatest TV magic trick of all. But before that, this.
Your task will be to load a single bullet into a revolver. My task will be not to die.
The pure showmanship of the man sells everything he does. I think he's a genius.
This here is bulletproof glass. You're going to be sat behind this for some of the time.
Back in 2003, Derren Brown shocked UK audiences by announcing that he would perform one of the most dangerous magic tricks of all time, the Russian roulette stunt, live on TV.
Have a seat for me, thank you.
If the trick went well, Channel 4 would have had an amazing TV programme, you know, a wonderful TV moment. But obviously, on the flip side of that, if the trick had gone wrong, we'd have been watching someone kill themselves live on national TV.
I could die on the telly. That's an incredible statement, but for whatever reason, you believe it.
Derren's fate lay in the hands of James, who had been hand-picked from 15,000 willing volunteers. All James had to do was load one of the gun's 6 empty chambers with a bullet. All Derren had to do was fire all but the loaded chamber at his own head.
And also, James, I've signed a disclaimer. I've signed a form that absolves you from any legal responsibility for this, all right? Pick up the gun.
I've never known a live TV show where the entire team are deadly silent. A mix of total terror and just total amazement at what we were watching unfold before our eyes.
Just take a moment just to take a breath and relax, and then count from 1 to 6, loudly, clearly, and slowly. And take a breath first. Go.
What Derren was looking for was somebody who was suggestible, somebody who Derren felt he was able to read very easily.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
It's very tense, isn't it, watching something like that? I don't feel like that's magic. I don't feel like watching Derren Brown do things. I think I'm constantly on the edge of my chair.
I'm going to set the gun to a chamber that I feel is safe. That's number 3.
I feel sorry for the little people he gets out the audience to sit with him, put their ear protectors on and count 1 to 6. Be shitting myself, me.
Forget all the stuff that you think is someone really going to shoot themselves in the head on live TV. It doesn't matter. He's got a gun and he's pointing at his head.
Number 4, I feel is safe.
And then he makes a mistake.
Number 5.
And then he takes 1 minute and 10 seconds of nothing.
Derren's dramatic pause, it's the tightrope walker's wobble. If a tightrope walker just gaily skips along, it doesn't really matter, but if there's a sense of jeopardy or danger or fallibility, that's crucial. You have to make the audience believe that it might go wrong.
And then that finale where it's... Brilliant.
Derren Brown, I think you're freaking rock.
At number 2, the master of stage illusions and dry ice, David Copperfield, accompanied by a huge buzzsaw and his own attempt at electrical work. There's some dangerous magic ahead.
The staging of the dry ice or the smoke machines is what sells David's style. For a while he tried to do it in the style bit of like a rock show.
David took one of the oldest tricks in the book, the sawing the lady in half illusion, did away with the glamorous assistant and turned the danger on himself. In his version, he is the one padlocked up.
That is a wonderful twist on the very classic magician's illusion. The twist of doing it to himself and the manner in which it was done. It was just absolutely awesome, wasn't it?
It becomes a trick about time, actually. Because what he's doing is apparently doing some kind of an escapology, apparently it going wrong. But it does have this extraordinary moment where the saw actually comes right down with no cover at all.
The blade weighs hundreds of pounds, and it's real metal, and it's sharp. There's definitely potential for danger.
There is always the fear when you've got mechanical things that something might go wrong. And of course they have done over the years. People have been sawn in half. It's only happened once or twice, but it has happened.
It's just sick, innit? I'm not really a big fan of feet. You know, his head and his body over here, his legs over here, and his feet here kicking around like, you know, like we're swimming in the sea. And it's quite disgusting.
What makes that trick better than all the other sawing halves is that his presentation, his concept of turning back time to resolve the situation. You know, he kind of like looks up and the clock starts to go backwards and the blade turns reverse and pulls out. And so he's really turning back time to stay alive and to put himself back together and make the situation okay.
It's like Marty McFly all over again. Yeah, and then, you know, when you just stand up there and he does this dramatic pose, you know, like it's nothing.
I rate it as one of the great tricks of all time.
So who has out-magicked all of this lot to take the #1 spot?
It seems truly magical with just about everything they do.
Just when you think you know how it's done, they take it a whole different direction.
It's better than good. It's great magic.
Thank you, David. Thank you.
Who are they talking about? We will leave you in suspense no longer. The magicians who performed TV's greatest magic trick are the legendary double act Penn and Teller with their death-defying magic bullet illusion.
Now, we need someone to pick a bullet from the audience. I think as a magic trick is probably the best thing we've done.
I think what they've done with this trick is really pretty extraordinary.
Just pick any one of those bullets there, please, sir.
The bullet catch has been performed for centuries and involves a magician catching a bullet that's been fired from a gun. But Penn and Teller decided to make an old trick that little bit more complicated.
Brett. Now, Mike, you've been examining that bullet a little bit. Examine a little bit more, would you please? Does it seem okay to you? Teller alone came up with the idea of doing the double bullet catch, which made us the first to do that. And yours was a smiley face, and that's right there.
To do the double bullet catch, to make it look doubly difficult, is one of the things that Penn and Teller do so brilliantly.
This trick is definitely not without its dangers, and over the years some magicians have died performing it. Most famously, magician Chung Ling Soo, who was killed on stage in London during a performance of the trick in 1918.
Things can always go wrong. It's not a trick to mess about with.
I want to brag about the fact that everybody else doing this, it was dangerous, and with us, it's really safe. And, you know, I hope these words don't echo with tremendous irony when you show this video after I've been shot in the face and killed, but I believe it's as safe as anything in anyone's show. I want you to draw a picture on the shell of the bullet. We have moments of eye contact when we're doing checklists. I am prepared, if it doesn't feel right, to say, we're not doing this trick tonight. There are levels and levels and levels of safety, although it is real guns and a real bullet, and all of that is true. And watch these bullets. We will not cross the line.
Now, you could imagine they could be doing all sorts of tricks with the bullets and so on, but the bottom line comes down to this. At no point do they ever cross that line.
They start off by saying they're going to move a bullet from one side of the stage to the other.
And we're going to do it using these magic wands. These are 357 Magnum Colt Python magic wands.
It's scary, it's really scary. You know, the way they do it, their style of presentation.
Be sure of your target.
And you do really start thinking, they're just going to kill each other.
Never point a gun at anything unless you intend to destroy it.
And then you start to realize that they're aiming for each other's mouths. And that's when it starts getting scary.
And I remember the first time firing the guns was horrible, horrible, horrible. We'd thought about everything, we'd worked for months, but now we were going to do this. Oh, man.
Everything about that routine convinces you that a bullet has gone from one side of the stage to the other side.
Are those your three initials?
Yes, they are.
Are your three initials on there?
Yeah.
They swapped the bullets, and the casing remained in the same pistols.
Tell me what you see on that shell as it comes out.
Stick figure.
What do you see on there?
Happy face.
Oh, yeah. We never said we would change the shells.
There just seems to be no other way that they could have done that trick other than actually fire those guns into each other's mouths. It's just an amazing mystery.
Here's the magic bullet. Number one. Good, thanks.
Now that is magic. Barry from EastEnders can do all the pleading he wants. It's not going to get him in the Big Brother house. Negotiations with his agent might help. Who is going in? Don't miss the Celebrity Big Brother live launch Thursday at 9 on Channel 5. Next tonight, see you in 2012 with a comedy classic starring Frankie Howard up the front after the break.